Hi, my name is Karina and welcome to the Karina Chronicles. I am back. Hello, welcome. Thank you for watching this and staying with me. Today we are going to discuss my new project of 2024, which is my TBR jar. Let's start. So, if you've been here before, you know that I kind of have been away for like a year or so. I'm really sorry for abandoning you. I just want to point out there is nothing wrong with me. I'm doing completely fine. I'm doing great. Actually, I was just being a little bit overwhelmed by things happening in my life. My life is just going really well. Which sounds like a good thing, but there was too much going on and I couldn't get myself to filming. Also, a big part was that my camera broke down and I just didn't feel like buying a new one. So I tried to figure it out with a broken camera, but I was disappointed by all the videos that I made. So I suddenly just quit and I stayed on Instagram and I posted some TikToks here and there. But this year I'm being back. We're going for it. So I hope you will like my new videos. I won't be uploading every week 2 times and 2 times a month extra anymore. I won't make that, but I will try to make as much videos as possible and just, well, also ask you more often like which project would you be interested in and then choosing one instead of just doing what I think is nice. I just want to know how we can go forward in this without me abandoning you again. So, I have 2 videos planned for this week, being my TBR jar and my January TBR. I know my January TBR should have been like the beginning of January, but it doesn't matter, we're just talking about it. And I'm also planning on doing a video of my best reads and most interesting ones, and maybe some mentions of the worst books I've read in 2023. I did a poll on my Instagram what people would be interested in, and I found out that's what people would like the most, like just a quick update on all the books and then continue as if nothing ever happened. So that's what I'm going to do. But this video, I'm going to make a TBR jar and show you how I did that and show you the first book I grabbed out of it. So let's go. Let's go. I'm so happy to be back. So first things first, I have made a TBR jar. And if you don't know what it is, a TBR jar for most people, I mean, everyone can do it differently, but for most people, a TBR jar is a literal jar with pieces of paper in there, or like other ways you can mark the different books. All your physical books, some people do also ebooks, audiobooks, every book you own goes into that jar. And then now and then you grab a piece of paper or your, I don't know, whatever you made of it, and you're going to read that book. And some people do that because they first want to finish all their physical books or their own books before they buy new ones, and this way they can get through them. I do this because I was curious how many books I had. It's too much, literally. How did I do this? But okay. And I wanted to now and then read a book that I haven't thought about in a while, because I am most of the times very structured, so I know very far in advance which books I'm going to read. There are a few exceptions for book club books and stuff. I obviously don't know them that far in advance, but there are also some books on my shelves that I plan on reading, but I know it will take me like 10 or 15 years before I get to them if I follow my usual planned numbered TBR. So that sometimes is a little bit disappointing because they can be books that I look forward to. And I figured out last year that I'm actually more of a mood reader than I thought. So I thought maybe this TBR jar can help me by showing me a random book that I haven't thought about in a while, and I'm just going to pick up that month. So my plan is to grab one every first of the month. I did so for the 1st of January already, and I'm going to show you that process. And I will finish at least 12 books out of that TBR jar at the end of the year. Obviously, I read a lot more books that I own already. So at the end of the year, I will also go through all the books in the jar and get them out. But the books that I grab on the first of the month are random, which adds something interesting to my, well, to my TBR, because I have read 50 books in 2023. That is kind of average for me. Usually it's like 51 or 48, but this was exactly 50 books. So if I read 12 random books, that is quite something that is significant for my reading. So that's why I made a TBR jar. But then first I needed to write down every single book I owned. I thought I had about 200, which is, don't get me wrong, a lot of books. But there were more. There were definitely more. So I'm spoiling a little bit the result already, as you can see. This is the TBR jar. It was empty beforehand, and there are 5 colors in here. If I thought a little bit in advance, I would have chosen different colors, but it doesn't really matter. We have 5 colors in here. As you can see, we have this cream color. This cream color is for classics and non-fiction. I thought I had quite some, but this actually became the biggest genre together with young adult and middle grade. So I own a lot of classics and non-fiction that I haven't read, and actually that does make sense because I buy them because I think I should read them, but I'm never really in the mood for them. So I guess this challenge will mostly be something like, let's pick up this other classic. Then we have, as I just said, the other biggest genre, which is young adult middle grade, and it's the yellow color. If I had known that these 2 genres would be the biggest, I wouldn't have chosen 2 colors that look so much alike, but you can see the difference on the video, so yay. Then we have red. Can you see the little red piece there? As you can see, there are not that many. There are some, definitely, but not that many. It's mystery, thriller, horror genre. I don't read a ton of them, but I have figured out that I like them more than I thought. So I have acquired quite some books in these genres the last year. So most of these books are quite new, which I'm excited about. So I think if I grab a red one, I can be excited. And then we have blue, like here, which is fantasy and science fiction. This is actually usually my favorite. But those books usually are very, very, very chunky. So I usually read like 1 per month and then it's good. So therefore there are not that many in here probably as well, because I do read them. I buy them and then I read them most of the times. I don't own that many fantasy science fiction books that I haven't read yet. And I think it's scary to grab them because they are mostly chunky. I know there are some smaller fantasies, but most of the time they are YA. And then they are on the yellow pieces of paper. So these blue ones are really like the adult fantasy science fiction. So like George R.R. Martin, Brandon Sanderson, V. Schwab as well, Becky Chambers. All my favorite artists. So blue is always good, I guess. And then we have green, which is kind of everything else. So we have literary fiction, historical fiction, romance, contemporary, most of those. And if there is a book that I can't place, it will also be on a green paper, which is not the biggest part of this jar, but it is like the 3rd biggest. So those are the colors. And now I will show you the clips of how I made this jar. Enjoy yourselves. It was a hassle. So, to choose one of the books, I grabbed 3 pieces because I said I figured out a little bit that I'm a mood reader. I don't want to force myself to read something that I really, really, really do not feel like. So I grabbed 3 pieces of paper and I choose one of them. And the pieces that I don't choose, they go back into the jar, but I do write them down. And I can only do that like 2 times for the same book. If I grab it a third time, I will either read it or I will sell it, because we're not doing this for cheating, you know? I just need to read all the books that I own. So hi, so it's the 1st of January and I just came back. It's like late in the evening and I just came back from where we celebrated New Year's Eve. And the only thing I really want to do right now is sleep. But it's the 1st of January, so I can grab the first one from my TBR jar, and I just really want to do that. So let's do that together. I explained to you already what my plan is, so I'm going to grab 3, and I will show you which ones they are, and I will decide which of the 3 is the most up to my mood for that month. For this month, for January of 2024. Happy New Year, by the way. So I'm just going to grab 3. I am a little bit scared. I don't want to read a classic, to be honest. And I don't know if I want to read a very heavy fantasy. So we'll see what I'll grab. I really can see it right now. So I know I have 2 now. I really have no clue. So oh wait, this is the same spot. I don't want that. So we have 3 now. Oh, there are 3 different genres, so that's great. This one is classics non-fiction. This one is young adult, middle grade. And this one is mystery, thriller, horror, which is interesting because I don't have a ton of them. So I am going to start with the classics one. I'll show it first to you and then I'll read it myself if you can see it. It says Bezonken Rood by Jeroen Brouwers. That's a Dutch classic, which is like just a heavy classic. It is interesting to read it. The author just died, I think, last year, 2023. Maybe. It's really something I wouldn't have picked up otherwise, so that is interesting. Okay, the second one. Is it Miss Peregrine? Yeah, it is. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Riggs. How is he called? Just Riggs. Okay, interesting as well. That is something that I had on my shelf to read semi-soon. So that would be nice. And it is more middle grade than young adult, I would say. So that would read easy. So definitely a contender. And then this one won't focus. So that is fine. It's too small, I guess. It is Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. Of all thrillers. No. That one is like 600 pages, I guess. So no, I think it's going to be Miss Peregrine. I'm really excited about it, actually. I'm going to write down the other 2 as well, because I have a rule. I can only put them back twice. The 3rd time I grab them, I need to read them, because, well, otherwise this jar doesn't make any sense. You know, you should read them eventually. If they're really like that bad, you really don't want to read them, then you should get rid of them. So if I grab them for the 3rd time, I have the option of reading it or unhauling it. But I never unhaul books, so probably I will read it then. So I put those 2 back, and it will be Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, number 268 on the list. So yay! So as you've probably seen, I had 280 physical books. I didn't count a few books in here. So I'm going to explain that to you as well. So there were 5 books at that time that I wanted to finish in 2023 still, so I didn't put them in my 2024 TBR jar. I only finished 2 of them in 2023, so there are still 3 books that I haven't finished, but they are not in this jar because if I won't finish them in January, then I'm mad at myself, but I will at least have finished them at the end of 2024, so they don't have to be in this jar. I'm already halfway through some of them, so that is fine. Books that I know I will be reading because buddy reading, book club books that I already bought, books that I already started in, book review copies, all those books are in here because I just wanted to know how many books I own that I haven't read yet. So there will be quite some books at the end of the year that I've read out of this jar that I didn't just randomly grab because I just read them. But I think that's fine. That makes it like a little bit more fun. So if we actually finish a book, here is the piece that I grabbed. It's pretty. I'm happy with my first piece. I will put them in this. It's so small, I know, compared to this one. It's ridiculous, I know. But remember, these are almost 300 books. In this one, there will be at most 50 books. Because I read 50 books per year, but not all of them will be owned. I will buy books or acquire books in another way that I will read. So it will fit, unfortunately. And it will look nice to put the pieces of paper in here when I finish them. So, as you've seen, I grabbed this book, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom. I couldn't find his first name for some reason on the piece of paper, but I found it. And I'm so excited about it. There are so many people that I know that said this was like their favorite book when they were young, and they still think it's good. There are pictures in here, like, okay, this is quite a gruesome picture, but okay. There are pictures in here. It's not that big at all. It has no page numbers. Oh, it does. 382 pages. Okay, that's actually not that small. It looks smaller, but it is middle grade, so it will read quite fast. It has illustrations as I just showed you. So I'm ready for this. I'm really, really ready for this. So that was actually it. I really hope you liked it. Please let me know if you have anything to tell about the TBR Jar. Do you have something yourself? How do you do it? Do you like how I do it? Do you have any tips? Do you want me to do a challenge with it? Let me know. I'm really excited. I felt like really like I achieved something with writing all of this down. I am a little bit disappointed in myself that I own 280 books that I didn't read yet, but it's in the details. Doesn't really matter. So thank you all for watching my first video after my sabbatical, maybe. I hope you'll have a lovely day filled with books, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye! I honestly didn't know that I owned so many books, but I love this jar. Maybe it will help a little bit. How do you do with your physical TBR?